Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another in the series of Vegans Across the World. Today, we have Viduna. Hello, Viduna.
Viduni, but
Oh,
it's okay.
Viduni, I'm sorry, and I
Totally
just
okay.
asked you how to
Hi.
say that, too.
It's totally fine. Hi. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, Viduni is in Colombo, Sri Lanka. So, what
Mhm.
we're going to do is we're going to go to, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show everybody where you are in the world, and there you are in
Mhm.
Sri Lanka. We'll zoom in on your little red dot there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to give everybody some facts about the area. So Sri Lanka is formerly known as Ceylon. It is
Mhm.
officially the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka in South Asia. It's an island country to the southeast tip of India. The island is a teardrop shape, as you can see, and it's nicknamed Pearl of the Indian Ocean or Teardrop of India. Sri Lanka is just slightly larger than the state of West Virginia for Americans, but it is home to 123 species of mammals, such as elephants, leopards, and crocodiles, 227 species of birds, 178 species of reptiles, 122 species of amphibians, and many, many other animals. Tea is a big business, Ceylon tea, with over 1 million people working in the tea industry. It's also the home of cinnamon. It's said to have been found on the island by the Egyptians in 2000 BC. Sri Lanka is still the leading export of the world's cinnamon today. Adams Peak is the most sacred mountain in the country, and even your flag recognizes with its colors Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam, I believe.
I'm not
Eh,
entirely sure.
Okay, so Adam's Peak actually has different meanings to different religions. They all believe it's like Buddha's footprint, or
Mm.
whatever the religion is. Anyway, a sacred tooth relic is housed at the Temple of the Tooth in Kandy. Oh, a sacred tooth relic of Buddha, I should have said,
Mm.
in Kandy, which is another city, which I think is kind of funny, even though it's spelled with a K, Candy and Tooth.
Yeah.
Anyway, every summer there's a festival to honor it. The first country in the world, it was the first country in the world to have a female prime minister.
Mm.
Now, I find this interesting. Tell me if this is true. You shake your head like this to agree.
Um. Well, not exactly, but
Okay,
we do it like in a weirder way. But I can show you later if you want.
sure. Okay. Well, the way it was described is you shake your head no to agree, which no
Yeah,
to the rest of the world. So,
it's like a mix of nodding forwards and then sideways.
okay, I was looking at the map. So if you were showing me, I have to see it again. Do it again. Did you do it?
um, um, no, because you can't see me.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll go back to the map. I'm going to get you
Yeah.
to do it later.
Okay.
The word serendipity came from the name of Sri Lanka, Serendip, the old name of Sri Lanka, which was
Oh, that's
Serendip.
interesting.
Yeah, it was coined by a British writer.
Mhm.
Came from I'm doing this from memory. Came from a story about a Sri Lankan story about three sisters, something
Mhm.
like that. I'd have to look at it again. But
Okay.
anyway, you have a population of approximately 21.8 million people as of the 2019 census. So what
Mhm.
I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen, and I will get back to us. So, Viduni,
Yes.
welcome again. I want you to go ahead and please tell everybody about yourself. For example, what is it that you do, and what kind of activism might you be involved in?
So I'm Viduni and I'm 19. So I went vegan about a year ago, and I I found a comment under one of the accounts I was following that was to do with feminism. It was nothing to do with veganism, and it was a social media activist account. And I saw slaughterhouse footage, like of how they kill chickens, and then the whole account was basically promoting veganism. So from then onwards, I was like, okay, this is something I want to be part of. So then I decided to go vegan, and I didn't realize that this was as serious as it is until over time, as I got to further understand what we're doing to non-human animals, and I only got into like social media activism like properly probably a few months into it. Like I didn't realize I was doing at first I didn't realize I was even doing what we would call activism, because I did start posting almost right away, because as usual, like you find out and then you think, oh, everyone's gonna change the moment you tell them. Like,
Yeah.
oh, everyone just needs to know, like everyone's in the dark, I just gotta share one post and everyone's gonna be like, oh shit, I didn't know that this was happening.
Like you, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it was not like that. It was a very a rocky start. And I haven't done outreach yet, but I'm really interested in doing that. I want to start doing that since I went vegan during the pandemic, so I was still in lockdown, and but I haven't done anything like going physically out there and going to vigils and stuff, which I'm really interested in doing. I would love to do that because we do have an animal save branch here called Colombo Animal Save, and they do activism here, peaceful activism. And so I've turned my account public. My main account used to be a private account where I just posted personal things, and then over time, as I got more into doing activism, I decided to make it a public account and like post it with some sort of structure, and then talk to people in other comment sections, and basically just get everyone triggered on the internet.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a really long journey of understanding the situation.
So you mainly do online activism, which is understandable during the pandemic. A lot of people have turned to that, even if they were out there on the streets beforehand. It's become a big tool now. So it is a form of activism. I've seen some of your posts, and they're very good. And obviously, it worked for you. So, and
Yeah.
even though I talked to a lot of people that I talked to, they all say the same thing. I thought people just didn't know, and they would, if I showed them, they would turn, and they didn't. I don't know. It takes a while, but you're gonna find, that there's gonna be a person out there, just like you saw somebody's post, they're gonna see yours. So it is a good form of activism, and it's especially important right now. So yeah, I like your posts. So where are you originally from? Were you born and raised there?
Yes, I'm born in Sri Lanka, and I'm fully from this country, but I grew up for a while in Dubai, and then I came back here when I was like in 7th grade. So most of my life I've been here. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the culture and the food like there, and compared to Dubai, since you've lived there, what would you say are the differences or the similarities, or just tell us a little bit about the food and the culture?
Here I was very lucky because even though veganism, the term and the concept, isn't like, at least like the Western concept isn't here, like people don't know the word much. The idea of, first of all, like Buddhism is a very prominent religion here. It's like the main religion here, and it's about not like it's very strong on ethics, and it's very clear that you shouldn't harm animals and you shouldn't harm people, and you should live a life free of causing suffering to others. And so that is a very like useful narrative to use when trying to get people to understand animal rights. So that helped in me talking to my parents and getting my parents to go vegan as well. So I live with a family, like a whole family, who's all vegan now, which is really cool. Yeah, and our diet is mostly vegan, actually. Like, since we're in a low-income country, we eat mostly plant-based foods, and by default, most of our curries and like staple foods and traditional foods are all mostly vegan. We use coconut milk a lot, and the only problem is we have to make sure that the coconut milk we get, it doesn't have some milk powder in it, because everything has milk powder these days.
It does.
Coconut milk. Yeah.
Yeah, milk powder, whey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in
It's so
everything.
unnecessary.
Exactly. It is. It's totally
Exactly.
unnecessary. I was talking to another guest about and potato chips. They've got them in
Yeah.
potato chips. It's like, why? Don't
Yeah. Sometimes I
gotta
wonder,
watch
like,
out for it
why
in your
would they put?
toothpaste.
Yeah. Like, why did they do that? Are they putting waste milk products into
I
the
think
food
they
or
are.
something?
I think that
Yeah.
they are trying to. The dairy industry is just trying to push their uh, product into everything. Um,
Yeah.
you know, just like they push it in schools. You know,
Yeah.
on children, they try to push it
Yeah.
into everything. So, did you see any big differences between Dubai and Sri Lanka?
Yes, definitely. Well, first of all, Dubai is a very modern city, so a lot of the food there is very expensive, first of all, and there are a lot of animal products there as well, and it's like. But one good thing is there's a lot of vegan alternatives there. Since it's very modern, there and veganism is now a mainstream word. I don't know if it's a mainstream philosophy because I don't think people fully understand veganism, even though
Yeah,
it's talked about a lot. It's more of a trend than represented as a diet. So
yeah,
I suppose it's more like the plant based lifestyle is very mainstream now. And even though it's not for just people who are rich and can afford luxury lifestyles and like very specific healthy meals, a lot of people are starting to go plant based, like for the climate, for their health, and there's a lot of alternatives there, like cheese alternatives, meat alternatives, and I had a Beyond Burger for the first time as well when I went there to visit, which was awesome because I
yeah,
was waiting for like a year to taste a Beyond Burger since we don't have those here, and
yeah,
that was like an amazing experience. I had like so many, like every day I started eating Beyond Burgers because
yeah.
I
It's
wanted to taste it so bad.
it's funny because I went vegan about 15 years ago, and Beyond Burger wasn't around,
Yeah.
and I never went vegan because I didn't like the taste of meat. I just did
Yeah,
it
same.
because it was the right thing to do. But I went all those years without it. But I tell you what, it's kind of a curse that they're around now because
Yeah.
I could easily eat one a day. First of all, they're not cheap. No, they should just be a
Yeah,
luxury
they're
item.
not.
You shouldn't have them once a day because they're full
Yeah.
of oil. Um,
Yes.
they're not a
100%
health
agree.
food, but as a
Yeah.
treat, yeah. But they're very good. They're very
Yes.
good. So it's hard if I don't have a little extra money not to just go a whole day just eating a Beyond Burger.
Yeah,
but um,
honestly.
but I decided this last week was my birthday, so I decided to go back to raw for a while. So no Beyond
Mhm.
Burgers, no none of
That's
that.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
all whole foods.
Mhm.
So
That's cool.
yeah, I started out kind of started out. The reason I found out about veganism is because I was looking to be healthier,
Mhm.
and the more I looked into foods, the more I found out about the industries. So I guess I started for I started plant based for health,
Mhm.
became vegan, very staunchly vegan for the animals. Started enjoying the junk foods again. As long as it was
Mhm.
vegan, it was okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm
But
supporting
now,
vegan businesses.
yeah, yeah. But now that I'm getting older, I was like, maybe I just need to
Yeah.
get back to my health a little bit. Even though I've
Mhm.
got a cube today, so I'm going out to talk for the animals. But
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
need to start thinking about my health a little bit. But yeah, Beyond
Yeah.
Burgers are awesome. So, how you said you've been vegan for about a year.
Mhm.
You told us what made you want to. What was it exactly? Like you said you saw the footage, but what clicked? What do you think was that click for you?
Um, so when I first saw the footage, I was just like, I guess I was just shocked at the fact that I was supporting this. And like, it never really clicked in my head that I was eating an individual that suffered and that like I didn't need to. And I was like, I used to be very addicted to animal products. I used to eat them all the time, and it was kind of like I was unhealthily like using food as a coping mechanism for a lot of issues. Like a lot of people do that most of the time. And I would eat cheese and all kinds of animals, and it never really clicked in my head that I was eating individuals that I actually like with it, if I had a sound mind and as a person who's against prejudice, as most people are, wouldn't I wouldn't condone that. And I used to say things like, hens look stupid, fish look dumb, they deserve to die, and stuff like that. And I was extremely ignorant. But then when I watched that video, I think because it came from because I got there from a feminist account, something like clicked in my head because I was following a page that was against oppression, against causing violence to others, and against prejudice. And then from there I got to that account and saw that, and then I guess my mindset was already in that state where I was thinking of rights and doing the right thing. And then it was obvious when you look at the footage what the right thing to do is. And I guess if I saw it differently, if I saw it like randomly by somebody protesting on the street or somebody telling me, maybe I would have been harder to change because I didn't get there on my own account and I wasn't already in that mindset. But definitely it took some time though for me to fully comprehend exactly how this system is an oppressive system, and that it oppresses individuals same as humans oppress each other, and that this is something that is definitely a Holocaust, and it's been going on for so long. It's the longest ongoing oppressive system in our society that like we're so numb to every single day, but we claim to be anti-prejudice and we claim to be against violence, but then we eat the bodies of innocent beings 3 times a day, and we literally drink their breast milk and think it's okay. And it's wild to me that we need that like we're so insensitive that we need an explanation as to why we don't need to drink the breast milk of another mother from another species. Like the level of indoctrination and manipulation is insane to me. And it took me like months myself to fully become conscious of the fact that we are so manipulated and brainwashed as to how we view other beings, and not only each
Completely
other as well.
indoctrinated.
Yeah, exactly. Even how we view each other, we're manipulated. But in how we view other species, like we're brought up in a childhood that teaches us anthropocentrism so deeply, and it's so deeply ingrained into us that human supremacy is so hard to unlearn, even for the kindest people. And that's really sad. Because at first, even I was a bit sympathetic towards, for example, slaughterhouse workers, and I would be very what's the word? I would be very tolerant of people, especially when they say very foolish things, and I wouldn't be as assertive as I am now. I still think being aggressive unnecessarily and being accusatory isn't going to work, but I do think we need to be confident and straightforward with our points instead of watering down the truth to make people feel comfortable. Like, for example, using the word Holocaust and using the word slavery and using the word murder and rape. These are objectively true terms for the situation. And like, I used to think that people who use these words, or people who were straightforward about the situation, were being rude or being aggressive and basically exaggerating the situation. But then I watched Earthlings a little after going vegan, and then I watched the entire documentary, and then that was when I was like, it really hit me exactly how insane and immoral the situation is.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely mentally affected me for since I watched Earthlings. And it's been very hard to be patient with people, to talk to people without screaming at them, because I need to realize that I also used to be ignorant,
Yeah.
and I also used to be not vegan, and I also used to say very stupid things about how animals don't matter. And I used to make fun of vegetarians as well. The funny thing is, like, a week before I went vegan, I had a friend who was vegetarian, and she was telling me about being vegetarian, and I made fun of her like a week before I had even gone vegan. I had been like, "Why don't you eat McDonald's? It's so good." And it's so like strange how our minds work and how our attitudes cause so much suffering, and it's so easy to be so ignorant. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I remember Yeah, I went vegan before I didn't see Earthlings. I went vegan, I think, probably a year after Earthlings came out. Of course, I didn't know about the movie, but
Mhm.
and I didn't even know about the movie until a few years after I'd been vegan. So
Mhm.
I did it without all that stuff. But once I saw Earthlings, I definitely started being bolder
Yeah.
about my posts and stuff like that. And again, I still didn't know how to be like on the streets activist. I didn't know how to get involved in that. I didn't even know about it except for PETA, and I thought they were paid.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
until I found AV, and then I was just like, "Oh, this is what I've been waiting for," because,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to, I've been getting bolder in my language,
Yeah.
and it was time. But the way you sound, you'd be perfect for starting an AV chapter. You should think about that.
I definitely would love
'Cause
to.
you already have, like, our workshops, everything that Paul Bashir says at our workshops, you already have it down.
Uh-huh.
Everything that you just said, you already have it down. So,
Mm.
yeah, you
That's
should,
good to know.
I'll talk to you about that later, but you should
Hell
look
yeah.
into that. But that's great, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so what about your friend, though, that you made fun of? Is she still vegetarian?
Oh, actually, I think, well, when I first like started posting about it on my account, like I was pretty angry at that time. I was very angry. I was so
Oh, sure.
frustrated.
Yeah,
Yeah, that I didn't have the capacity to be patient with people, because when I first started talking about it, I was very nice because I assumed people would easily understand you talking about chopping someone's head off.
and
It
you
would
get
be very easy to
frustrated.
understand that it's
Yeah.
wrong, right? So people didn't find it easy to understand, and like the cognitive dissonance was very strong with most people around me and even my friends. So I had a lot of fights, and people got very, what's the word, frustrated with me, and kind of like saw me as a joke, kind of as they usually do with veganism. Like I'm being over dramatic and I'm being rude to people and I'm forcing my views on them and stuff like
But you
that.
see it
And
as an urgent, there's an urgency.
yeah,
You feel a sense of urgency
exactly.
when you see this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I started with posting a bit of graphic content. Like I posted a photo I found on the internet of a hen hanging upside down, and it had their throat slit and they were bleeding. And it wasn't a very graphic image, and compared to what I've seen, like Earthlings and what happens. Like there's a lot more violence that happens to a
yeah.
hen than just having their throat slit and bleeding upside down. And I just posted that photo, and I posted like a caption that was, I think, some sarcastic caption like, "This is our KFC and McDonald's and chicken curry," and people got mad at that. People said, "You're this is not the right way to spread a positive message. This is not the right way to share a compassionate message. You're affecting people's mental health." And my friend messaged
Like,
me.
how
My
do you
friend
think
who
it's
was
affecting my
vegetarian.
mental health?
Yes, exactly. My friend who was vegetarian messaged me, and she was like, you're this is not good for people's mental health, and I don't want to see these things. Like, I agree with your message and I understand what you're saying, but this is not the right way to go about it. And she still wasn't open to discussion though, and I don't think she ever went vegan. um and the ironic part is she is also a vet, so like
Yeah.
she's studying to be a vet, and that was really frustrating for me. But I guess maybe it could also possibly be from because I'm one of the people who made fun of her before I even went vegan, so it probably felt like an ego attack that this person that was making fun of them is now doing like what she claims to be doing
Yeah.
much better than she is. You know what I mean? Like, she claims to be an animal lover, and like the fact that, you know, you're being told by this person who made fun of you for it that actually you're not doing enough and there's more you can do, and then it's like it's very you get prideful, and I understand that. And like it could also be like partly my fault for being ignorant beforehand in the first place. So yeah, I think she might eventually turn vegan, maybe, but
Are you still friends?
no, we don't talk much anymore. But I'm
Maybe
definitely open
maybe
to
she'll
having
come around.
conversations still. Yeah.
Maybe so.
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. I think we all go through that phase. I did it too. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of like people that I had known for 20 years. I eventually, just a few years back, got rid of a um, person I call my best friend since I was 14, because her sister, whom I, of course, knew her whole family, had made a
Mhm.
post about raising a female pig for slaughter. And I got on there and I was like, please do you not realize that this is a betrayal? You
Mhm.
know, you talk about how you care for her so much, and your purpose is to kill her. And the person who I call my best friend since I was 14 comes on, knowing that I've been vegan for a long time, and says, I can't wait to meet her, MEAT. And
Wow.
I was just like, I block. I didn't look back. I was like, that's it. That's just so you move on.
Yeah.
You grow up, you move on,
Yeah.
you know? And I just started to think to myself, maybe I just held on to the past too long. Maybe it's time to just
Yeah.
move on. So that's how it works sometimes. Um, so you said your family's now vegan. What about your
Mhm.
friends? Do you have a lot of friends that are vegan now? Have you been able
Um
to change them instead? Not the girl that you lost.
no. I think I've definitely opened people's minds up, quite a few. I don't know. I'm not sure if I have like friends in the country that I know that I've turned vegan, but I have a few friends who've been receptive to what I say and over time have understood what I'm saying. It's very interesting actually. Like I didn't think like I went into this like after a while I just lost faith in humanity and I just continued the account just out of a feeling of obligation like this is a service I'm doing to the animals and whether it makes a difference or not I don't know, but I'm going to keep doing it and I didn't think I would change many people's minds, but I tried my best regardless because I felt like I had to do it instead of just staying silent. And over time, it's very interesting to see that people I haven't been in contact with for so long, like people from old schools, are following me now and message me saying, "Oh, your posts are very have changed my mind on this topic, and that I'm planning on going vegan. And how do you go vegan here? And do you have any resources to help me find this vegan product?" And it's so like it makes me like have some faith in humanity again because these are people like who I didn't even know were following me and who I didn't know were still keeping in like touch with my content and my page and myself in general because these are just like childhood like people that I knew from different schools
Yeah,
and the fact that they've been paying attention to what I'm doing and um to like suddenly get a message from someone saying I've been paying attention to what you've been posting for this long and I think you've changed my mind on this a lot and I've I'm planning on going vegan. I'm talking to my mom about going vegan and things like that. It makes me feel like okay, even if I feel like I'm not making a difference over time, I'll realize that I'm actually making a lot more of a difference than I think.
yeah,
Because even if like when I look at my stories, I see a lot of people looking at them even if they don't message me. And people who I don't think are vegan, people who are just people that I've known before who usually don't even usually talk to me still, but then end up talking to me again because of my posts and
yep.
because of what I say about veganism. So, yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know. Sometimes it's the silent people
Yeah,
that are going vegan.
exactly.
I had a guy that I became friends with online. I think it was a dog group that we were in, so it was just mutual
Mhm.
interest in a dog group, and
Mhm.
we ended up friending each other personally on Facebook. And he's living in Thailand, but he's an American, and
Mhm.
his fiance or his wife now I think is from there. But
Mhm.
anyway, he was living there, and he started seeing all my vegan posts because he was on my
Mhm.
personal page,
Yeah.
and he kept quiet about them.
Yeah.
But one day he sent me a long private message saying, "Stacy, I just want to let you know, don't stop doing what you're doing. You never know who you're going to affect because
Yeah.
at first I was wondering, why is she so angry? So I had to look into it, and
Mhm.
because I wanted to prove you wrong. I knew you had to
Yes.
be wrong. But when
Yes.
I looked into it, I realized why you were so angry, and now I'm vegan. And
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out. I just cried.
Yes.
And I don't talk to him very often, but
Mhm.
he's still vegan as far as I know. And
Yeah.
this is like 8 years later. So him and his wife. And yeah, so I you never know who he said don't ever stop because you never know
Yes.
who is
I
reading
made
your posts.
Yes, I made a friend actually in the UK through a friend I made here from like it's a long story. I met a friend from the UK and they're living in the UK right now, but they're from here. And I like they had been keeping up with my posts for a while, and sometimes they would respond, and just to like kind of as like to troll, they would respond to like
Yeah.
say silly things. And then one day we just got into a debate about it, like a proper conversation, instead of just them trolling and then me responding and then them not coming back. And we had a really long debate on it, and we had like an existential crisis in between as well. And I kept my patience for once, and I like, even though I maintained my assertiveness, I didn't become accusatory. I didn't become like insulting towards them. I made sure it's centered around the topic and not about them. And over time, like they had their mind kind of opened up to it, and then they said, okay, I'll get back to you after I look into it myself. And they did their own research on it, and then afterwards they came back and said, okay, I did the research on it and I wanted to prove you wrong, but then I found all this information and now I understand what you're saying, and I'm going vegan too. And now I'm not sure if they're like fully vegan yet, but they're like completely agree with the philosophy, and they talk about it with their friends. They've gotten in fights with their own friends at their uni, which I'm so proud of. And like they've talked to so many people about it, and they messaged me recently saying like, how do you maintain friendships when you're going vegan and when you're vegan? And it was so
You build
humbling.
new ones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And in terms of friendships, actually, like it's been very conflicting for me, because on one hand I think, okay, if I keep my friendships despite how much conflict we have, then I am keeping a vegan influence in their life without
Yeah.
just leaving. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's very mentally draining to
Yeah.
constantly have to casually talk to them and not mention the fact that they're contributing to this um, oppressive system that's causing so much suffering, while I'm right next to them and I can't say anything, because if I say too much, it pushes them away. But if I say too little, I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't want to unfriend them, because then I feel like I'm doing the animals a disservice by taking my influence out of their life. Because,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a hard thing for all of us is to try to get that balance, because well, like, some people I think that's why they don't take the liberation pledge. I finally took the liberation pledge. Do you know what that is?
Yes,
And
where
I
you
finally took
refuse
it
to
for
eat.
my own mental
Yeah.
health,
Yeah.
because I just couldn't handle it anymore. I've gotten actually it's pretty good response from that. I just explain
Mhm.
it to my family and people around me, and they understand. I
Mhm.
don't go out to eat with them as much, but
Mhm. Yeah.
but at least when I do, I don't have that drain. And it is because like on your social media, you like me getting rid of that my friend, my best friend, it's like that was just rude. I just knew that I was never going to get through to her. She was
Mhm.
and that was just a dig at me personally. And besides the fact that it was also a dig, obviously, at the sow. Um,
Mhm.
but um, you gotta it's a fine line because I don't want an echo chamber on my social media. I do want to get
Yeah.
through to non-vegans,
Yeah.
but at the same time, how much do I want to fight with them? But I think it's gotten to
Exactly.
the point after over 10 years of this now that the people that didn't leave in the beginning
Mhm.
now are cool with it, no matter
Yeah.
how harsh it is. So even
Yeah.
if they're not vegan.
Yeah,
They don't.
exactly. Yeah.
Usually, I think the people come out of the woodwork in the beginning. If they're going to drop you, they'll come out fighting. Like,
Mm,
as soon as you post something, they'll come out and start going after you, and
yeah.
you pretty much eliminate them right away.
Mm,
But, you feel like after 10 years, you guys been seeing my posts. Why aren't you vegan yet? You know?
exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard. But, a lot of us also struggle. The biggest struggle for us is getting through to our families, but you did it. So tell us,
Yeah.
how did you get through to your family? You said religion helped?
Yes. So my family is very Buddhist. They pride themselves in being very ethical people in terms of their religion, like because of their religion. So Buddhism is actually like that's like a whole different like topic. It's very interesting. Buddhism is actually a philosophy, right? And it's been turned into a religion by people. And there's a lot of philosophies that were preached by Buddha, who I like, which I think are really helpful to society, and I agree with a lot of them. But the problem is it's been turned into a very ritualistic kind of thing instead of actually about the philosophies in our society.
Yeah.
Like um, a lot of Buddhists will eat meat and contribute to a lot of like injustices, and whilst being racist as well, even towards people, and have this superiority complex because they have this label saying I'm a Buddhist, and they think that exempts them from all
It's
unethical
like people who
behavior.
practice yoga, but they don't practice ahimsa.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like they value the label more than the actual philosophy and the ethics. And it's very clear in Buddhism that it's unethical to harm any animal or any human being. And it's very clear that we need to let go of our attachments and our greed and our cravings. And the whole concept of consuming animal products is based around craving and greed and gluttony and um, taking another's life and causing suffering for no reason. And it's like to be vegan is possibly the most Buddhist thing you can do. And
Yeah.
I use those arguments against with my parents and with my grandmother who also lives with me, and I explained how you all wouldn't be morally consistent, and you wouldn't be doing your religion justice if you didn't go vegan and if you didn't stop contributing to the suffering. And they were pretty receptive to that idea because they are very, very prideful about their ethics. So then we
See,
went vegan.
a lot of parents, though, a lot of parents are more prideful about being right. And I think
Yeah.
that's the hard part about, we've talked about this with others. And Polifacetica, she's a big activist in Mexico. She brought up the point
Hmm.
first about how it's just that parents don't want to be told they were wrong by their children.
Mm.
And that's why it's
Yeah.
so hard to get through to them. And that's
Yeah.
why sometimes we just shouldn't even bother. Um,
Yeah.
but still, the people you love the most, you don't want to see them contributing to something like this. And
Yeah.
it's so hard when they won't get it, it doesn't get through to them. I think it is stubbornness most of the time. They just don't
Yeah.
want to be told by their children that they were wrong, you
Yeah.
know. So it's good
I
that you
guess.
had another angle in there.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not
I
about what
guess
I'm
for
telling you;
me,
it's about your religion.
yes, exactly, exactly. That was exactly my point. Like, no, this is not my belief. This is your belief, and you would be practicing your belief if you did this. So, like, I guess when I went vegan first, like after I saw the footage and I went through their account, they showed footage of all kinds of different industries, like the dairy
What
industry, the
footage
fish
was it that you
industry,
first saw? By the way, I'm sorry, but was it
the
particular footage?
yeah, there was hens hung up on the
That's the
like
footage you
they hung
saw the
upside
first time?
down. Yeah,
But
and
do
then
you
there's
know
an
what it was
automatic map.
from is what I'm saying. Do you know what particular video it was taken from? Like, was it
Not
like it
entirely
wasn't
sure.
Dairy is Scary, but, something like that. It wasn't particular movie or anything like that that you know of.
Not entirely sure. I can't remember.
So it's just probably a
Mm,
clip. I was just wondering.
yeah,
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
it's okay. um, yeah. So I was telling them, okay, yeah. When I first went vegan and when I saw that footage and like mentally I was like fully set on going vegan in that moment, and then I showed it to my sister, And she also decided, okay, we're not going to support this anymore. And we had a moment of like awakening, like this is really messed up. We need to stop supporting this. And then we decided to tell our mom, because we live with our mom and our grandma, and my dad lives in Dubai. So like for me, after that point, I guess it wasn't an option to live in a house that wasn't vegan. Like I was dead set on turning my family vegan, and under any circumstance, because like I just didn't want to live in a house where I came like every day I'd be complacent in having like body parts on the table and just like someone's breast milk in the fridge, and I'm just living here and acting like there's nothing wrong. So like I guess it wasn't really an option. At least I would have to be vegan, and I would have to be allowed to be vegan. Like I have a friend who doesn't live here. She lives in India. I made this friend online. She basically didn't eat for 3 days because as like a protest to her parents who weren't letting her go vegan.
Hunger
And
strike.
then yeah, and then her mom finally caved in and let her go vegan, and that was so like admirable. She's
Wow.
like 16, I think, and she does
Wow.
online activism as well. She's like really impressive. And like once you realize how much suffering we cause them, it almost feels like there's nothing that you could lose that's not worth it, to just at least stop supporting it yourself
Yeah.
and like not be involved in it yourself, because like even if you don't support it, people are always going to support it for a long time. Like every day there's even more, there's like increasing meat consumption, increasing animal product consumption. And like the least we can do is not contribute ourselves, even though it will still won't alleviate all the suffering. And like that moral baseline, it feels like is worth fighting for really hard, even if you might lose some things and if you might have conflicts with people. At the end of the day, it'll make like, I think it'll attract the connections you want to make, because I've like discovered the animal rights community here because I went vegan. And that's been so cool for me, because I didn't even know that we paid attention to animal rights in this country. Like I didn't know veganism was a thing here, and if we knew the word. And it's really cool. Like, and also like our culture is mostly plant-based. We eat a lot of plant-based food, and
So
it's
the
pretty
transition for your
easy.
family wasn't too hard then.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Wasn't too
Like
that's
we only
that's
ate
good.
chicken and fish before, so we had to only cut out two animals from our diet. And anyway, we've been sort of against, like we've always been like we won't eat cows for
Yeah.
some reason, just cows.
Yeah.
And like we weren't very strong on that, but we had this kind of thing that it's weird to eat these certain animals, and it's okay to eat these certain animals.
Well, I don't
um
all cultures have that obviously,
yeah, exactly,
you
exactly,
know.
yeah. um yeah, but it was pretty easy because most of our culture is plant-based. We eat plant-based food.
Yeah. I think that probably helped a lot too because,
Yeah, it did.
because, that's a decision we make 3 times a day, unfortunately, even though it's not
Yeah,
about the diet, it's
yeah,
unfortunately a big
exactly.
part of the transition.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, would you say it's easy or hard to be vegan where you live? You just said pretty much it's easy, you don't have to change
Mhm.
that much. So you'd say it's easy to be vegan where you live.
Yeah, it's
But as
definitely
a
easy.
vegan, what are your struggles?
um I guess the main struggle is being so painfully aware emotionally and mentally of the suffering we cause every day, and then not being able to exactly talk about it to anyone close to me in my life, and they have them understand. Like my sibling understands. She's the only one who understands. So it's really nice. We both understand how devastating the situation is, and we want to make a difference. And she's also been really amazing. She speaks up about it in class, well, because she does
Is she
online
younger than you?
classes. Yeah, she's still doing A levels.
Okay.
So she's in high school, and she talks about it in class, and like got her teachers to even be more open-minded about it. And it's really admirable, and I'm so glad that she understands it, and we both are in this kind of together. But otherwise it's like, for example, I have a best like three best friends who I've known for 6+ years, and I haven't been able to change any of them into vegans. And like, I know we don't change people into vegans, we can only
Yeah.
talk to them and then they become vegan. But like, I haven't been able to get through to any of them for like a year, even though I've been consistently talking to them. And one of my friends, I've gotten into a fight with over it, and she eventually understood why I was so adamant about this and why I was so aggressive about it, and she stopped mocking it, which I really appreciated. At least she now accepts like what I say, and she lets me speak and she lets me share my information with her, because I still share like footage and posts and stuff, because it just bothers me that I don't say anything even if they don't respond to it positively. And I think over time they might be more open to it as long as I'm consistent, because I believe like consistency is key when changing
Sure.
people's minds. Like when people see that you're consistent and your points and your stance is like strong, and it's not being wavered by any doubts that are thrown by other people and questions and insults, it becomes um it becomes obvious to them that there's something very solid that's holding that person in that position. So it, like most people who are anti-vegan would be very would not be that confident about their stance, even though they're very mocking and they make fun of people. They're not that confident about their stance
Yeah.
because they get very insecure about it, and you can't talk to them about how they're eating animals that have been abused while they're eating them, because they're going to be insecure about it. Deep down they know they're wrong, but when it comes to veganism, we know deep down we're right. So like
Yeah.
that usually in the end comes through to people. But I don't know, like it's very hard being like trying to be maintain my friendships and maintain my relationships, but still not constantly talk about how there's so much suffering going on, because it feels like I want to talk about it all the time and just talk
Yeah.
about it and make sure we're aware of it 24/7, because it feels like how can you talk about this celebrity getting married when there are animals being slaughtered right now?
Yeah.
How can you talk about um getting this, like how can you talk about how you don't have this particular dress, and you can't get this particular dress when there's someone being raped for your meal later today? And how can you talk about how you're having a fallout with your friend or having a breakup, while you're contributing to some of the worst suffering on this
Yeah.
planet, to the
Especially
most
when you're hanging
injustice?
around people that are contributing to it, it's hard not to say
Yeah,
something. You know,
yeah,
and I'll say as a female, it's especially frustrating to hear other females that don't recognize that they are contributing to the commodification of the female body and our
yes,
reproductive system
exactly.
through you know what? I just noticed you were doing just fine without pushing it towards your face.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it actually said it. I
Okay.
think it was the shift that worked best,
Yeah.
the shift of your earphones, so you don't have to do the pushing.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, you're sounding loud and clear. But anyway, yeah, I like for example, we took our AV booth to we did a virtual reality goggles at
Mhm.
uh when we do booths or festivals like that. We don't do cubes. I don't know if you're familiar with Anonymous for the Voiceless.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
am. Yeah.
So we don't do cubes when we do a festival. If we get a booth, we do virtual reality goggles and we talk to
Mhm.
people. And just we went to a women's festival.
Yeah.
That was the most frustrating festival I've ever been to. The women
Mhm.
that stood up for commodifying female bodies was just appalling to me. It was just, and I'm like, we're at a women's rights festival. Do you not
Yeah.
see? And all of the justifications they came up with for exploiting other females of another species was amazing to me. And so I
Yeah.
get very frustrated with other females myself,
Yeah.
being a female, you know,
Yeah.
especially they call themselves feminists, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, do you not see
Exactly.
that we can't ask for our rights while simultaneously
Exactly.
taking away the rights of females of another species,
Exactly.
you know? But, have you ever thought about, I mean, you're young, you're articulate, you're very well spoken and very passionate. Have you thought about doing your own YouTube channel? I think you would do great.
Yes. I
You
have
should
thought
do
about it.
you should do
Yeah.
that.
I
I
guess
would
I'm
really
building
love
up
to see
to it.
that. What's
Yeah,
that?
because I guess I'm building up to it, because at the start I was very like I'm very scared of being I guess attacked, or like being targeted, but at the same time I feel like it's worth it because I'm just gonna die one day. We're all gonna die one day. We might as well go for it and do it. And
Well,
so
the
like
thing is, you can ignore them, and a lot of times YouTube actually will delete anybody insulting without you don't
yeah,
have to do anything. Sometimes, like
yeah,
people aren't even being insulting, and they'll delete their comments. I'm like, wait, I didn't do that.
yeah,
YouTube did that, you know.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
like showing my face, you know,
yeah,
like to strangers, it
yeah,
scares me. But at the same time, it's very exhilarating to stand up for what you believe in to a
yeah.
bunch of people that you don't
I
know.
think you would do great. I think you would do it wonderful.
Thank
I
you.
would love to see you have a YouTube channel, and maybe even get your sister involved in it. You know, it's like
Yeah,
get
I
younger
will
people more
definitely.
involved.
Yeah, I feel very encouraged now.
Do you
Now
know
that
who
you
that
say
vegan
that.
teacher is?
Yes.
All right, so she gets a lot of young trolls on her, really young
Yeah.
people. They're very much trolls, and she featured me on her channel a couple times, and I got a
Mhm.
lot of her trolls. So
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I finally arrived. I've got trolls. you don't, you've not
Yeah.
arrived until you have haters.
Yes,
you
that
know.
is true. That is true. Yeah, on one hand, it's quite exhilarating to like be so outspoken and have so many people care so much about what you're
yeah,
saying because at the end of the day, if they really didn't like had an issue with me and if they like didn't like what I was saying and they didn't care about it, they wouldn't talk about it. They wouldn't bother hating on it. They wouldn't go out of their way and put their energy into bringing me down. But they do that, and it's like in a way it's kind of exhilarating because it means that you're doing something significant and it's getting people riled up, and that means you're
that's right.
like living a meaningful life in a sense because you're not just moving through things, you're actually making a difference, and like people are affected by what you say.
Yep.
And that's really like fascinating to see how much power we have to make other people like change their minds, think about things and get angry and talk about a topic even if it's not in a positive tone. It's still like you're getting people to pay attention to something that previously they weren't paying attention to, which
Yeah.
is really cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you would do great. I would support you all the way. And I know a
Thank you.
lot of activists on YouTube that would do the same.
Hmm.
So I really hope to see that sometime soon. So
Yeah.
you kind of told us earlier, how do people view animal rights where you live? You
Yeah.
said you were surprised to find that there were animal rights groups there.
Yeah.
In general, how do you think you see Sri Lankans? How do they handle animal rights? That subject.
Mm. Well, I guess one thing I've noticed in this country is we have a lot of hypocrisy and superiority complexes. Like, yes, we have great philosophies in terms of Buddhism, for example, and there's like um there like one thing that gives me hope is Buddhism because like it's a very good philosophy, and it like even if some people don't fully understand it, there are people who follow it at least halfway or somewhat, and they follow the basic rules, and they end up being pretty ethical in their decisions because of those things, even if they don't fully understand exactly how to be ethical in how they live their lives. So it's a good blueprint, but there's a lot of hypocrisy like and racism because even because people know I guess that Buddhism is a very good philosophy, and our main religion here is Buddhism, and most people are Buddhist here. But we also have a Muslim community, and we have people who are not Sinhalese Buddhists and who are Tamils, and we have Hindus, and there's a lot of racism, and we have prejudices towards other religions very often, and we have this idea that our decisions are always better than everyone else's. I guess that's the case with like every religion sort of, but here
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of hypocrisy because like I heard a while ago that a monk burned themselves alive in protest to cow slaughter, and I think I was just thinking about how like what about the hens and what about the fish, because we don't value fish very much in our
Yeah.
country. The fish industry is
Oh,
very
especially because you're an island country. Yes.
exactly, we depend a lot on the fish industry for our income, for our country's income, and um like to tell, like, if I were to tell people that we should get rid of the fishing industry, there would be a lot of hatred coming back my way, saying, "Oh, the people in poor areas depend on this industry to earn their living," and like, you're telling people who can't afford to not harm fish to do this, and you're being extreme and stuff like that. Like, that would be the most of the responses, even from Buddhist people, if I were to talk about the fishing industry, because and which is again like ironic, because recently there was like whales that washed up on our beaches because they died from, I think, getting caught in nets or something. They just
And
washed up. There
everybody
was like
was
100.
upset, weren't they?
Everybody was upset, and it was even in like international news that Sri Lankans came out even during the pandemic to um basically, I think, um save the whales or something. I don't know. Like, they all came out onto the beaches and like tried to help some of the whales go back into the water and stuff. And it's ironic because these animals are dying because of what we do to them in the first place. So, like, the fishing industry is the reason these animals are dying. Like, and the fish themselves matter, like the ones we eat, as well as these, like the bycatch and the whales that get caught in the fishing nets that we leave polluting the oceans. Like, it's
Yeah.
because of our consumption of fish. And if you were to tell someone to stop consuming fish, the classic response is no. Why would I do that? Right? Even
Yeah.
in other countries, not only here, like, fish are viewed as the lowest in the whole thing, and some people will eat
People
not
don't
eat any
connect
of
with them
them.
because they can't speak a language or
Yeah,
like make noise. They usually don't make noise when
yeah,
you pull them out of the oceans, and it's like alien to them.
yeah,
I remember probably the last thing I let go of was fish.
yeah,
And I think I even used to justify it with it just jokingly saying
yeah,
because they're most like us because we came from the water. And so I'm eating my own.
yeah,
I don't know. I made some stupid joking
yeah,
justification for it at the end until I
hmm,
finally realized, what the hell am I doing?
yeah.
So yeah,
I guess,
people are going to hold
yeah,
on to tradition. Yeah, they're going to get upset and totally virtue signal, while at the
yeah,
same time, and that happens the world over. It happens. So
yeah,
it's not just where you live. It happens the world over. You see a
exactly,
lot of
yeah,
hypocrisy.
yeah,
So I was going to ask you what your favorite form of activism is, but obviously you're limited to online. You want to do
yeah,
save. I think you should try to open an AV chapter.
yes. I would love to do
Personally,
that.
I can give you the information on that.
Yes,
Um,
please.
I'm a regional organizer for 2 regions here, so I
Hmm.
could definitely hook you up with somebody. But I think you would do a great service to. I think you would represent AV very well. Um, but so is that what would you like to do if you could?
I've
YouTube,
been,
get out on the
uh,
streets.
I guess, yes, but like, I've been thinking of like doing. Do you know the account Rob Banks on Instagram?
Yeah,
Yeah, his activism is really powerful, and like, I've been thinking of making posters and like doing that and going outside and like putting quotes up on the walls
yeah,
and pictures and stuff like that, because that's very powerful. Because when you're just
flyering
driving
stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah, like when you're just driving past and you notice something like a picture, it's very easy to notice, and you see that and it stays in your head, especially if it's talking about something that nobody talks about, and like, it's like a sudden wake up call randomly when you're in the street. And like, I've been interested in doing that. I've been thinking about that for a while. Like, but I guess I take time to develop the guts to do something before I do it. Like, even turning my page public, it took a while for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this now, and then face the consequences, like, to make sure I think about what's gonna happen afterwards when I do it. Um, but yeah, I've also been thinking of making a YouTube channel, but
you
again,
know what?
I like,
That makes me
yeah,
think. Vegan Pixie. 2 things. Vegan Pixie Warrior. Should check her out.
mhm,
She does a series on how to be active, and there's one
mhm,
about flyering and stickering. But she does different, like each one of her videos is different ways that you can get active.
mhm,
But there's also Vegan Gaze. If you don't know who she is, she's another
mhm,
YouTuber from the UK who's
mhm,
currently been doing a series of, and I think she's on right now while we're doing this,
mhm,
um, where she is outreaching non-vegans online on
Mhm.
YouTube. And I think they
Mhm.
do it through Discord. I'm not sure, but they show it online on YouTube while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Really great to listen to her. I think that you are right down that alley as far as
Mhm.
that. Maybe it's something you could think about doing. Is you said you've had
Yeah.
debates with people. Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe do a YouTube channel where you're having online debates with non-vegans.
Yes. That would be a
So
good
check that
idea.
out. See what you
Yeah.
think. Vegan gays. I'll give you those links.
Yes,
But I
please.
think I'm excited because I think you would do great for the animals. I mean,
Thank you. That's very
anybody that would
encouraging.
be a great activist for the animals, I'm all for it, and I think you would be a
Mhm.
great voice. So,
Yeah.
so I'm getting to the end of my questions here. If a vegan visits where you live, where should they go? That doesn't have to be a restaurant, but just where do you think they should? It can be, but where do you think they should go?
Mm, not sure exactly. I don't
Are there
know.
any sanctuaries or anything like that that you think they would enjoy?
I actually haven't I don't know about that much. I haven't been to any sanctuaries, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure it's been hard since you just went vegan during the pandemic. You probably couldn't
Yeah.
before that. Or I mean, before that, you didn't
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. I've been planning on going for to vigils because the Animal Save movement here, the Colombo Animal Save movement, they do vigils, and I met a few animal rights activists when I went to a screening they did at a restaurant, a vegan restaurant for they screened Seaspiracy, and I met some
Okay.
animal rights activists, and that was really cool because we had all these agreeing the same we had the same views on everything, and it was insane to me that they were in the same country as me in this tiny little island, which and then that veganism and animal rights is view is
You found your
understood here.
tribe.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I'll probably go to a vigil at some point with them when they start doing it again.
So you think that what's this restaurant that you went to? Was it a vegan restaurant?
Yes, they're called the vegan.
The vegan. Well, that's easy
Yeah.
enough to remember, isn't
Yes,
it?
exactly. Yes.
Listen, anything that we talk about here that you want me to, including your social media links, that you want me to include, will be included below the video
Mhm.
for everybody to find when this
Mhm.
airs. So,
Okay.
so we'll make sure that everybody has links to those. Do you have a lot of vegan restaurants where you live?
Um. Well, there are quite a few in Colombo specifically, but in general, I guess I haven't really like. So one thing I've tried to stop doing is seeing veganism as a diet, right? So it's just I don't contribute to this oppressive system, and even though the label isn't there everywhere, there's so much food here that you can eat, and there's so many different places that you can eat vegan very easily, and the only reason I guess I make a point to tell my parents to buy from vegan restaurants and vegan businesses is to support the ethical uh, business. So to support businesses that have that ethical understanding of what they're doing instead of just having foods can
An
that can
option.
be eaten by a vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like
what is your favorite vegan dish that people should try if they come visit?
oh okay. Damn, there's a lot of food here. I guess my favorite is uh pizza at the vegan. So they
Okay.
should definitely go to the vegan if they come
Okay.
here because they have amazing options. They have pizza, they have burgers, and it's mind blowing. Their food is amazing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So, pizza. What do you pineapple? Yes or no?
No, no
Oh,
pineapple.
I am team pineapple on pizza all the way.
Maybe I'll change my mind in the future. Who knows?
I guess that's a question I haven't asked before. I'm gonna have to start
Yeah.
asking that to all my guests
Yeah.
now. All right. So, how can they get involved in the local vegan community if they come there?
Mm, well, first of all, you can get involved with Colombo Animal Save,
Colombo
which
Animal
is
Safe.
yeah, and there's also Candy Animal Save, and
Okay.
the vegan community here is really strong. Um, like
Do you have any
they're
groups that they can get involved in or find or get in touch with?
uh Well, as far as I know, I only know of Colombo Animal Save and Candy Animal Save.
Okay. But there's no like vegan Facebook groups or anything like that.
There are, but I'm not involved in them because I don't have Facebook. But
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right.
So, but I do know some like activists that people should follow.
So
Like
they should just get in touch with you, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just
There
get
you
in
go.
touch with me, then I will tell you.
Okay, perfect. So finally, I want to ask you, where would you like to go visit one day and learn about veganism there? Have you had a chance to travel much?
I've only been to Dubai,
Okay.
as in like Abu Dhabi and that area outside
Okay.
of Sri Lanka and Colombo.
Okay.
So I haven't been to any other countries, but I've always wanted to go to the UK
Okay.
and like meet like some of my favorite animal rights activists like Jerry Carbstrong and like see him doing street activism and just like tell him like how much he's influenced me. And like I've always wanted to taste the fish and chips that the vegan fish and chips made by Ed Earthling, his
His
restaurant he
cafe,
has.
yeah.
Yes, I've always
I
wanted to
would
go
love to
there.
go there.
Yes, exactly. And just generally learn about veganism in the UK.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
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 Okay, great. Well, I hope you get a chance to do that one day. I really
Yes.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Viduni, I've had so much fun talking to you. It was really a pleasure
Same
to
to
meet you.
you.
You
Yes.
know what? To me, you're young, and your
Mm-hmm.
sister's even younger. And I get kind of jaded. I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
get kind of
Mm-hmm.
jaded sometimes, but really seeing up and coming people, activists such as yourself and your sister speaking out for the animals, really, really makes my heart swell. And
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to seeing a lot more content from you in the future. So,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, I would like you to check out the links below this video. Find Viduni on social media. She goes under a different name, but you'll find all those links under the video, including everything that we've talked about today. So, Viduni, you have any last words before we say goodbye?
Oh, I do have one last point to make.
Sure.
White veganism is not real. And that's all.
Are you?
Okay,
Do you
yes.
watch The Soy Theist?
Yes. One of
Okay.
my favorite activists.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, good. Okay, it
Mhm.
just reminded me of one of his some of his videos. He's talked about the
Yeah.
colonialism and all these arguments and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to seeing where you go from here. So, you have a great day. I'm going to finish up,
You too.
do my outro for the stream, and I'm going to say goodbye.
Bye. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for having me. This has been
Thank
very
you.
fun.
Have a great day. Bye bye. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap this up and say thank you for being here yet again. Another wonderful guest. And you know what? I met her at the last minute, and I'm not going to say how I found her, but thank you to that person. And I am thrilled. I really, people like herself really make me look forward to the new wave of activists that are coming out here. And I hope you enjoyed meeting her as much as I did. Please, please support her and what she does. Let's encourage her to make her voice heard. I think she'll be a great, great activist for the animals. So, all right, I'll let you go. If you want to know who I'm going to have next week, you just have to show up. Thank you. Love you. Bye.